State of Play, which ended up being really Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart State of Play. And this State of Play was about 15 minutes from memory and went into very much detail into what the game looks like, some of the mechanics of the game, much more about Rivet. I don't know if you guys remembered, but Rivet really, no one really, like, they hadn't said almost anything about this character. So there was a lot of speculation about what Rivet was and who Rivet was. So that was sort of revealed in this gameplay trailer. And this was extremely, extremely well received amongst the community. And for me, at least, very much like a true next-gen looking game, and very much probably replacing Dark Souls for me as like the best looking next-gen game.
Demon Souls.
Good correction, instant correction. So I wanted to get your guys' thoughts on it, and then also, are you going to pick it up, Mike? I know Swinny won't, because he won't buy a PS5 until he buys a PS3 and then a PS4. So, like, this game for me was one of the ones I'm keeping my eye on, and I think it's becoming a day one purchase for me. How about you, Mike?
Oh man, so I've never played the previous ones, but this looks really cool.
And did you pick up the free one on PS4?
Nope, did not.
Ratchet and Clank was
maybe
free.
I did. I just never played it.
Yeah, because they just did a 60 FPS upgrade on it.
Ah, nice. Maybe I should play that first then. But no, this game looks fantastic. Gameplay looks really good. The world looks really, really cool. So it might be one of those, I don't intend to get it, but then you'll get it and I'll get it at launch and then just sink many hours into it because it looks so cool.
I think, like, one thing, I'll throw to Swinny in a second, but for me, the one thing when I was watching the State of Play, I'm not sure if you watched it all, but there was one component where Ratchet, like, latches onto, like, the rifts and pulls it towards himself, and it's like the whole world moves. And I don't know, to me, it's like, when I saw the animation, it just felt like I'd never seen an animation like that. It was, like, so smooth and so, like, I don't know, it just looked insane. Like, to me, it was probably the first time I've ever seen something next gen where I was like, wow, okay, that actually looks insanely impressive. Do you know the part I'm talking about, Sweeney?
Yeah, I mean, that showed off that kind of thing in the early stuff, but
don't limit my enjoyment here.
Not in this, not in such a big chunk of gameplay, and especially in this area. So they're showing off a lot more of this specific Nefarious City area, and whereas before, a lot of the stuff we'd seen is kind of looked like it was in the same kind of slice of gameplay. That so it was good to see much new places and new areas in the game, because by all accounts these games, are quite varied in locations, and I guess in general, look, this looks absolutely fantastic. They obviously have to balance two very specific audiences. They've got the Ratchet and Clank fans, and then they've got the people that have never played a single Ratchet and Clank game, and they're looking to play a next-gen game on the PS5, because we know that, especially, like, obviously Xbox has no next-gen games, really, but, on the PS5, people are wanting new games that they can't experience on the older platforms. And as someone that's never played any of the Ratchet Clank games, like, I'm almost like, I felt like, okay, if I had a PS5 right now, what am I thinking when I'm watching this? And what I came out of it was, man, this is the game I'd want to buy for my PS5.
Yeah.
So it looks absolutely awesome. And I know that they did the Ratchet and Clank animated movie, and I don't know how this compares to it, but just even the in-game cutscenes, the animation and the quality of the models is just absolutely phenomenal. It's kind of wild. Like, this is where we're at with gaming.
It's insane. Nuts. I remember when you'd watch FMVs and you go, yeah, that's an FMV. That's not gameplay, obviously. Now gameplay is way, way better than the FMVs back in those days. Like, like, if you were to compare, I don't know, some of the Final Fantasies, and I remember when we'd play the old ones way back, and the FMVs were just insane. But you knew that was an FMV. They couldn't achieve anything like that with gameplay. Whereas now you look at something like Ratchet and Clank, and you think, man, this is like just insanely beyond any FMV that you used to get even like 10 years ago. And it's actual real-time gameplay. It's nuts. Just looks so good. And the gameplay looks really cool too. So,
well, yeah, because even the transition between gameplay and, cinematic footage, it looks like they've rendered it. I don't know. It looks like they've paid really careful attention on the transition renders. It really tried to make the lighting and everything match as much as possible the cinematics to the in-game gameplay.
But that's because the cinematics are actual running through the engine, aren't they?
Are they?
I mean, I think
Really?
yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah,
It
yeah.
transitions
Holy
straight.
moly!
There was a really when he lands when the ship lands on the
Really?
planet, and there's like a transition from the cinematic of the ship landing and stuff, and it goes straight into the gameplay. Yeah, I think that all, to me, at least from what I saw, it looked like it was just real time cinematics.
It's that's what I took away. Like they definitely transition straight to gameplay. There may be some cases where they have done like some big story beats that are rendered, you know, maybe using the in-game, and as you said, intergot maybe with some, very specific shaders. So that may still happen, but from a lot of what they showed in this state of play, they were changing straight back and forth between gameplay and cutscene.
Well, like I'm impressed regardless from a technical point of view, right? Like and interested, but in the reality is like I think we're all very pedantic with this kind of stuff, and I think all of us just felt that it was completely seamless. Just like the way it all played out and played through, like in terms of cinematics to gameplay to, story beats and everything. I think you summed it up really well, Swinny, where I think folk who are, probably a lot of people bought Returnal as well. Because they're like, I want to get a game that you can't get anywhere else that's good. And what game has that really been? Like, I know Miles Morales is sold like crazy, but it is more Spider-Man, really. Demon Souls remake of, the PS3 game. This is a game, and same as Returnal, but I think this game, people are looking at it and just, I showed my wife this game and she thought it was a movie or something like that. And to your point before, Swinny, I was actually watching part of the Ratchet and Clank movie. It honestly, like, it's amazing. It's like 5 years later and it almost looks the same. Like, it's hard to even really tell the difference. Like, I honestly thought that they were pre-rendered, those cinematic scenes that you guys are talking about. But I could believe that it's in-game. It looks so incredible.
That's okay, yeah. And the environments are so cool as well. Just the contrast in that video between the cityscape. I forget the name of that city that you guys mentioned. Nefarious City. And then it goes into the natural, more jungly sort of environment. That's so cool. Like, it was actually a really good choice to showcase those two environments they're quite contrasting in terms of one has vegetation, one has a lot of tech, sort of cyberpunkish feel. A really good choice, I think. And
honestly, like, graphics aside, it just looks like fun to play. Like the fact that they've added more, like a lot more mobility to this. And again, I can't reference the past games, but what they'll say in the video is that, that they're adding more like traversal things like wall running and stuff. So I take that as a new addition based on what they said. And it looks really, really awesome. And it's just what they're doing with the DualSense adaptive triggers. Sounds awesome. And again, like in reality, I haven't experienced that stuff yet in, let's say, Astra's Playroom. But by all accounts, if they're applying similar tech to Ratchet, and I believe that Team Asobi tends to like share a lot of that stuff between the Sony studios, then should be for a treat from that standpoint as well.
Yeah, it does look fun. Like, and for me, I think this will come at a good time. So this is coming out on the 11th of June. And then that sort of is post our wrap up of the Go Soy games, and
so hopefully have time to play.
yeah. I think
Mass Effect is also coming up, but you're not going to get that at launch. So
I'm close to actually, because 69 is it?
Yeah,
I don't feel like
Amazon.
It's gonna be cheaper than that for a while, And
but this is going to take the cake, right? What's the expression I'm looking for? Yeah, this is the one you want to get.
Well, yeah, you know what? But one thing that may be a determining factor for me is because this is a PS5 exclusive. What's happening in Australia? It's kind of weird where games that are coming out on the PS4 are still getting competed down to $70, $80 if it's PS4 and PS5. Whereas if it's PS5 exclusive, it's like you're lucky to get it for like $100 Australian. Like lucky to get it. And I feel like Ratchet and Clank, I don't know, man. I reckon the cheapest you'll get it's like 110 in Australia.
I might look it up actually.
So that and honestly, I don't know why, but it really is like a bit of a factor for me. It just like it's such a jump in Australia versus like the US, where they've gone up from $60 to $70 US.
And you are right, by the way. It seems like most stores are showing 108 for Harvey Norman. I was Game Shop 106. So I think you're right. It's going to be one of those 109 at JB Hi-Fi.
Yeah, and so for like US listeners, that works out to be about $77 like, and that's not including taxes. So that because they don't include taxes in their prices. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of it's a bit of a shame that we've gone from it definitely being cheaper than US prices to now being more expensive. Like we've had the rub of the green with PS4, and now we're getting the back end of the stick for PS5. But I don't know if I see this on sale somehow or one of your dodgy tricks, I might take advantage of that and try to get it because it does look pretty cool. And then the other thing I just wanted to mention with this state of play was that Among Us is announced for PS4 and PS5.
Cool. Nice. And I think didn't they have some kind of Ratchet and Clank didn't they show that there's like a
skin?
Yeah, skin or something. That's cool. That's a neat little way to link it in. They said they were going to cover another game. I don't know what that was. Did you
Subnautica? But all of that stuff was already known. It was just that there's a PS5 version of Subnautica 1.
Cool.
And then the new Subnautica is coming out as well. I think the upgrades, I would have written it down, but I think the upgrade's coming on the same day or around the same time as the new Subnautica. So yeah, it's interesting with Among Us. I don't like it's dropped off a lot on popularity, but like still very popular with some people. A bit like Fall Guys. I think with these games, it's a shame that they weren't all cross-platform because I feel like there was probably more likely that they would have had more staying power. Because even Fall Guys, I know for Xbox and Switch has been pushed out to maybe even next year at the rate it's going, which is a bit of a shame. All right, let's move on to our next story. The